Captain Amelia Voss pressed her palm against the cold viewport of the bridge, watching the alien constellations drift past like scattered diamonds on black velvet. 8 years. 8 years since the experimental jump drive had malfunctioned, hurling the UES Meridian and her crew of 43 souls into the unknown reaches of space, far beyond the familiar borders of human civilization. Captain, Chief Navigator Torres called from the station, his voice carrying the same weary resignation that had become their constant companion. Long-range sensors are detecting something ahead, approximately 200,000 kilometers off the starboard bow. Amelia turned from the viewport, her weathered face bearing the lines of someone who had aged decades in less than a decade. The responsibility of keeping her crew alive in this hostile emptiness had carved itself into every feature. Her once bright auburn hair now showed streaks of premature gray, and her green eyes held depths that spoke of too many impossible decisions. What kind of something, Torres? Artificial structure, ma'am. Appears to be a vessel of some kind, though the readings are unusual. Dr. Sarah Chun, the ship's chief medical officer and Amelia's closest friend, looked up from the science station where she'd been reviewing their dwindling medical supplies. Unusual how? Torres frowned at his displays. The energy signature is completely foreign, nothing like human technology, but also unlike anything we've encountered from the 17 other species we've met out here. And Captain, he paused, his fingers dancing across the holographic interface. It's broadcasting a distress signal. The bridge fell silent except for the omnipresent hum of the Meridian systems. In their 8 years of wandering, they had learned to be cautious. The galaxy was vast and full of wonders, but it was also full of dangers that could end their journey in an instant. How far are we from the edge of the Helix Nebula? Amelia asked, referring to the spectacular but treacherous stellar nursery they'd been skirting for the past 3 months. Approximately 6 light years, Captain. We're in the outer spiral arm of what the computer designated as Galaxy UNK 7. Amelia had long since given up trying to remember all the designations for the star systems they'd encountered. The Meridian's computers had cataloged hundreds of worlds, dozens of civilizations, and countless cosmic phenomena that humanity had never dreamed existed. They had become involuntary explorers, mapping the universe one desperate jump at a time. Chun, what's our current supply status? Sarah consulted her tablet, though Amelia knew she had the numbers memorized. They all did. Food stores are at 37%. Medical supplies are running critically low. We're down to basic antibiotics and emergency surgical materials. The fabrication bays are operating at 60% efficiency due to the shortage of rare earth elements. And the jump drive? Engineer Marcus Webb spoke up from the engineering console. Still functioning, but barely. We've pushed it well beyond its operational parameters. I estimate we have maybe 5 more jumps left before we risk complete system failure. 5 jumps. 5 chances to find either a way home or a place to call home. The weight of those numbers pressed down on Amelia like a physical thing. Commander Parks, she addressed her first officer, a tall woman with silver hair and steady hands. What's your assessment? Victoria Parks had been with Amelia since the beginning, back when the Meridian was just another deep space exploration vessel on a routine mission to survey the Kepler 442 system. She possessed an analytical mind that complemented Amelia's intuitive leadership style perfectly. We've been fortunate so far in our encounters with alien civilizations, Parks said, her voice measured and calm. The Zephyrians traded us food and water for our historical archives. The Crystalline Collective provided us with those energy converters that increased our power efficiency by 12%. But, Captain, we're running out of things to trade, and our luck won't hold forever. That's why we need to investigate the signal, Amelia said, her decision crystallizing. If there's even a chance that this vessel contains technology that could help us, navigation systems, a working jump drive, anything, we have to take it. Ma'am, Torres interrupted, I'm receiving more detailed scans now. The vessel appears to be heavily damaged. Hull breaches in multiple sections, minimal life support, and... He paused, his expression growing troubled. I'm detecting multiple life signs, but they're very faint. Most appear to be in distress. Dr. Chin immediately moved to the sensor array, Her medical instincts activated. How many life signs? Difficult to determine with the interference from the damaged systems, but I estimate between 15 and 20 individuals. The biological signatures are unfamiliar, but they appear to be humanoid. Captain, Park said quietly, "This could be a trap. We've encountered hostile species before." Amelia nodded, remembering their encounter with the harvesters 6 months ago, a robotic species that had tried to strip the Meridian of its resources before they managed to escape. But she also remembered the kindness of the melodic ones, ethereal beings who had shared their knowledge of stellar navigation and provided them with star charts that had helped them avoid 3 separate gravitational anomalies. "I know the risks, Victoria, but we can't turn our backs on people in distress. That's not who we are." She moved to the captain's chair, feeling the familiar weight of command settle on her shoulders. "Torres, laying a course for the vessel. Maximum caution. Parks, take us to yellow alert. Chun, prepare the medical bay for potential casualties. Webb, I want all defensive systems online and ready." "Yes, Captain." Came the chorus of responses. As the Meridian adjusted course, Amelia found herself thinking about Earth. Not the Earth they had left 8 years ago, but the Earth as it might be now. Had humanity expanded further into the galaxy? Had they improved their technology? Did anyone even remember the Meridian and her crew? The questions haunted her, but she pushed them aside. Her crew needed her focus on the present, on the immediate challenge ahead. Whatever secrets the damaged vessel held, they would face them together, as they had faced everything else in this strange and wonderful and terrifying galaxy. The alien vessel materialized on the main view screen, like a vision from a fever dream. The ship was enormous, easily twice the size of the Meridian, but its graceful lines were marred by devastating damage. Massive hull breaches gaped like wounds in its golden metallic surface, and entire sections appeared to have been torn away by some unimaginable force. "By the stars," whispered Ensign Kelly from the communication station. What could have done that? The vessel's design was unlike anything in the Meridian's extensive database. It possessed an organic quality, with flowing curves and spiral patterns that seemed to shift and change as the light hit them from different angles. Despite the damage, it was beautiful in an alien way that spoke of an advanced civilization with a deep appreciation for aesthetics. "Captain," Torres reported, "I'm detecting the source of the distress signal. It's coming from what appears to be the ship's command center, located in the forward section." Dr. Chin studied the readings from the medical sensors. The life signs are getting weaker. Whatever happened here, it happened recently, maybe within the last few hours. "Any signs of the attackers?" "Negative, Captain. No other vessels in the area, and the damage pattern suggests the attackers have long since departed." Amelia studied the tactical display, her mind racing through possibilities. "Webb, can you determine what kind of weapons cause this damage?" The engineer's fingers flew across his interface as he analyzed the sensor data. The patterns are consistent with high-energy plasma weapons, but there's something else. Some of the damage appears to have been caused by... I'm not sure how to describe it. It's like the hull was aged or corroded at an accelerated rate. Biological weapons? Park suggested. Possibly, or some kind of exotic energy field. I've never seen anything like it. "Captain," Torres called out, "we're receiving a transmission from the vessel. It's weak, but I think I can clean it up. Put it through." The bridge speakers crackled with static, and then a voice emerged, alien, but somehow conveying desperation and pain even to the universal translator's mechanical interpretation. "Anyone, please. We are the Lumiari of the ship Star Whisper, attacked by priests of the Dark World. Many dead, need help." The transmission cut off, leaving only static. "Torres, can you reestablish contact?" "I'm trying, Captain, but their communication array is severely damaged. That may have been their last transmission." Amelia felt the familiar knot of responsibility tighten in her chest. Here was another species in need, another opportunity to prove that not all beings in the galaxy were driven by conquest and destruction. But it was also another risk, another chance for her crew to pay the price for her compassion. "Chun, what can you tell me about these Lumiari?" The doctor consulted her xenobiology database. "Nothing. They're not in any of our records. which means they're either from a very distant part of the galaxy or they're an extremely isolated civilization. The biological reading suggests they're carbon-based, probably oxygen-breathing, but beyond that, unknown. Parks finished. Captain, I strongly recommend we proceed with extreme caution. The mention of priests of the dark world is particularly concerning. It suggests a religious conflict, and those tend to be the most brutal and unforgiving. Agreed, but we can't let fear paralyze us. Torres, bring us to within transporter range, but keep us at a safe distance. I want escape vectors plotted and ready. Yes, ma'am. As the Meridian drew closer to the damaged vessel, more details became visible. The ship's hull was adorned with intricate patterns that seemed to tell a story, spirals that represented stellar formations, flowing lines that depicted the movement of celestial bodies, and symbols that spoke of a deep connection to the cosmos itself. It's beautiful, Chin murmured, echoing Amelia's thoughts. And ancient, Webb added, studying the structural scans. Some of these design elements suggest technology that's far older than anything we've encountered. This isn't just a ship, it's a work of art. Captain, Torres announced, within transporter range. The ship's shields are down, and I'm detecting safe transport coordinates near what appears to be their command center. Amelia stood up, her decision made. Parks, you have the bridge. Chun, you're with me. Webb, I want you to study their technology. But from here, Torres, keep scanning for any signs of the attackers returning. Captain, Parks said, I should lead the away team. It's too dangerous. No, Victoria. These people are dying, and they need to see that we're here to help, not to conquer. A captain's presence carries weight that a first officer's doesn't. She paused at the turbolift doors. If anything happens to the away team, you are to immediately withdraw and continue searching for a way home. The needs of the many outweigh the needs of the few. Parks nodded grimly. Understood, Captain. The transporter bay was a small, cramped space located on Deck 7. Chief Petty Officer Rodriguez manned the controls, his experienced hands already preparing the system for transport. Coordinates locked in, Captain. The ship appears to be using some kind of artificial gravity generation, so you should be comfortable once you beam over. Amelia stepped onto the transport pad, her hand automatically checking the phase, pistol at her hip. Dr. Chin joined her, carrying a medical kit and a portable scanner. 2 to beam over, Chief. Yes, ma'am. Energizing now. The familiar tingle of the transporter field surrounded them, and the Meridian's transport bay dissolved into sparkles of light. When the light faded, they found themselves in a corridor that took their breath away. The passage was tall and graceful, with walls that seemed to be made of living crystal. Soft bioluminescent patterns pulsed along the surfaces, providing a gentle blue-green illumination that was both soothing and alien. The air was thick with an atmosphere that their suits registered as safe but exotic, rich with oxygen and trace elements that created a faint, pleasant scent like flowers after rain. The gravity is slightly less than Earth normal, Chin reported, consulting her tricorder. The atmosphere is breathable, but I recommend we keep our suits sealed until we know more about their biology. They moved carefully down the corridor, their boots echoing softly on the smooth floor. The damage was more evident here. Sections of the crystal walls were cracked or shattered, and in some places, the very structure seemed to have been eaten away by some corrosive force. This way, Chin said, following her medical scanner. The strongest life signs are coming from just ahead. They turned a corner and entered what was clearly the command center of the ship. The space was vast and circular, with control stations arranged in concentric rings around a central dais. But it was the occupants that drew their immediate attention. Bodies lay scattered across the floor, tall, graceful beings with elongated limbs and faces that were hauntingly beautiful even in death. Their skin had a translucent quality, and beneath it, networks of light seemed to pulse faintly, as if they were connected to the ship's bioluminescent systems. My God, Chin whispered, they're beautiful. But it was the manner of their death that made Amelia's blood run cold. Some of the bodies appeared to have been aged rapidly, their skin withered and their hair turned white. Others showed signs of having been drained of some essential life force, their translucent skin now dull and gray. Over here, Chin called out, her medical training overriding her shock. I've got a live one. Near the central command station, a single Lumiari lay crumpled against a crystalline console. This being was smaller than the others, perhaps younger, and the light beneath its skin still pulsed with faint life. Chen knelt beside the alien, her scanner working frantically. Severe trauma, massive blood loss, but the vital signs are stable. I can treat this. As she worked, the Lumiari's eyes fluttered open. They were large and multifaceted, like those of some cosmic insect, but they held an intelligence and depth that was unmistakably sentient. "Do not fear," the being whispered, its voice like wind chimes in a gentle breeze. "We are Lumiari. We are peace." Emilia knelt beside Chun, her hand resting gently on the alien's shoulder. "We're here to help. I'm Captain Emilia Voss of the Earth Vessel Meridian. Can you tell me what happened here?" The Lumiari's breathing was labored, but it managed to focus on her face. "The priests of the Dark World, they came without warning. They seek the sacred codex, the key to the ancient pathways." "What is the sacred codex?" "Navigation system of the ancients. It shows the way to all worlds, all times. They cannot, must not have it." Chin looked up from her work. "I've stabilized immediate trauma, but this being needs immediate surgery. We need to get them back to the Meridian." "Can they be moved?" "Yes, but carefully. And, Captain, there's something else. The cellular damage patterns I'm seeing suggest that the attackers used some kind of life-draining weapon. It's like they were feeding on the victim's life force." The Lumiari gripped Emilia's hand with surprising strength. "You must help us. The Dark World. They will return for the Codex. If they succeed, all worlds will fall to darkness." "Where is this Codex?" "Hidden in the ship's heart, the quantum core, protected by the dying light of our ancestors." Emilia felt the weight of another impossible decision settling on her shoulders. Help these beings, and risk her crew in a conflict they didn't understand. Walk away, and potentially doom countless worlds to whatever fate the Dark World had in store. But looking into the Lumiari's multifaceted eyes, she knew there was really no choice at all. "We'll help you," she said simply. "But first, let's get you to safety." The Meridian's medical bay had been transformed into an alien sanctuary. The wounded Lumiari, who had identified himself as Kaeldats, lay on the primary biobed while Dr. Chin worked frantically to adapt human medical technology to treat his injuries. "The fascinating thing," Chin explained as she adjusted the biobe sensors, "is that their physiology incorporates both organic and quantum elements. The light patterns beneath their skin aren't just aesthetic. They're actually part of their nervous system, processing information at a quantum level." Emilia watched as the light patterns beneath Kaeldats' translucent skin slowly grew brighter, indicating his recovery. And the priest's weapons? Specifically designed to disrupt that quantum biological interface. It's like they were draining the victim's ability to think, to process information, to exist on multiple dimensional levels simultaneously. The implications were staggering. Humanity had only recently begun to understand quantum consciousness theory, and here was a species that had evolved to naturally exist in multiple quantum states simultaneously. "Captain," Commander Parks's voice came over the intercom. "We've completed our scans of the Lumiari vessel. You need to see this." Emilia left Chun to her work and returned to the bridge, where Parks had assembled the senior staff around the holographic display table. The three-dimensional image of the Star Whisper rotated slowly, revealing details that the initial scans had missed. "The ship is far more advanced than we initially thought," Parks began. "What appear to be artistic decoration is actually a sophisticated network of quantum processors integrated into the hull itself. The entire vessel is essentially a living computer." Engineer Webb leaned forward, his excitement evident. "And that's not even the most remarkable part. The quantum core that Kaeldats mentioned, it's not just a power source, it's a dimensional anchor. The ship exists simultaneously in multiple parallel realities, which is how they achieve faster-than-light travel." "Parallel realities?" Emilia asked. "Think of it this way, Captain," Torres explained. "Instead of moving through space, they move through different versions of space. Each reality contains a slightly different arrangement of stellar objects, and by shifting between them, They can effectively teleport across vast distances. The implications for the Meridian situation were obvious. If they could access the sacred codex, they might finally find a way home. What about the attackers? Amelia asked, any signs of them returning? Long-range sensors show nothing, but there's something troubling about the damage patterns on the Star Whisperer. Parks replied. The weapons used weren't just advanced. They were specifically designed to counter Lumiari technology. This wasn't a random attack. It was planned. Suggesting what? That the Dark World has been studying the Lumiari for a long time. They knew exactly how to hurt them, how to disable their defenses, and how to extract what they wanted. Before Amelia could respond, the intercom crackled. Captain to Medical Bay. Kale, that's asking for you. She returned to Medical to find the Lumiari sitting up, his multifaceted eyes now bright with restored health. The light patterns beneath his skin pulsed in complex rhythms that somehow conveyed both gratitude and urgency. Your healer has given me new life, he said, his voice now stronger and more melodious. I am in your debt, Captain Voss. You owe us nothing. We help because it's the right thing to do. Kale that's tilted his head, studying her with an intensity that was both alien and familiar. Your species is young, but you carry within you the light of the ancients. Perhaps there is hope yet. Tell me about the sacred codex. What exactly are we dealing with? The Lumiari's expression grew grave. Long ago, before your species learned to look up at the stars, there existed a civilization that spanned the entire galaxy. They called themselves the Architects, and they built pathways between worlds, between dimensions, between possibilities themselves. He gestured, and the air around them shimmered with holographic images, vast structures in space, cities that existed in multiple dimensions, beings of pure energy walking among the stars. The Architects transcended physical existence millions of years ago, but they left behind tools for younger species to find. The Sacred Codex is one such tool, a navigation system that doesn't just show where things are, but where they could be, where they have been, and where they might become. And the Dark World wants this power? The Dark World is not a place, Captain. It is an ideology, a philosophy that believes suffering and entropy are the natural state of the universe. They seek to return all existence to darkness, to chaos, to the void that existed before the first stars were born. Amelia felt a chill that had nothing to do with the ship's temperature. And the Codex would help them do this? In the wrong hands, it could be used to unravel the very fabric of reality, to rewrite the past, to ensure that life never evolved, that consciousness never emerged from the cosmic dark. Then we can't let them have it. Kale that smiled, an expression that was both beautiful and alien. You understand. This is why I will help you claim the Codex first. With it, you can return to your home world, but more importantly, you can help us ensure it never falls into the wrong hands. What do you need us to do? The Codex is hidden in the quantum core of the Star Whisperer, but it can only be accessed by someone who carries the light of the ancients. I believe you possess this light, Captain, though you may not realize it. Before Amelia could ask what he meant, the ship's alert klaxons began to wail. Parks's voice echoed to the medical bay. Captain to the bridge. We have incoming vessels, bearing 127 Mark 35. They're not friendly. Amelia ran to the bridge, where she found chaos. The main view screen showed 5 dark vessels approaching at high speed, their angular designs radiating menace and aggression. They're hailing us, Torres reported. On screen, the view screen filled with the image of a being that defied easy description. It was vaguely humanoid, but seemed to be composed of shadow and negative space, with eyes that burned like dying stars. When it spoke, its voice was like the whisper of cosmic wind through dead worlds. I am Void Priest Malden of the Dark World. You have taken something that belongs to us. Return the Lumiari in the location of the Sacred Codex, and we will grant you a swift death. Amelia stepped forward, her command presence filling the bridge. I am Captain Amelia Voss of the Earth Vessel Meridian. The Lumiari is under our protection, and we don't negotiate with murderers. Malthan's laugh was like the sound of stars dying. Humans? So young, so ignorant. You have no idea what forces you're meddling with. The Codex will be ours, and through it, we will return the universe to its rightful state of darkness. Over my dead body. That can be arranged. The transmission cut off, and immediately the Dark World vessels opened fire. But these weren't conventional weapons. Beams of pure entropy lanced through space, designed to age and corrode whatever they touched. Evasive maneuvers. Amelia commanded, "Return fire." The Meridian's plasma cannons answered, but the Dark World vessels seemed to absorb the energy, growing darker and more menacing with each hit. "Captain," Webb called out, "our weapons are having no effect. If anything, they're making the enemy ships stronger. Then we'll have to outrun them. Torres, plot a course to the far side of the nebula. Maximum warp. They're matching our speed, Captain. We can't outrun them." Kale that's appeared on the bridge, having somehow moved from medical bay despite his injuries. "Captain, I must get to the Star Whisper and retrieve the Codex. It's the only way to stop them. The ship is too damaged, and you're in no condition to." "The ship lives, Captain. The Lumiari do not die as your species does. We simply change states. The Star Whisper will respond to my call." As if to prove his point, the damaged alien vessel suddenly began to move, its crystalline hull flickering with renewed light. Despite the massive damage, it was somehow still functional. "Incredible," Parks whispered. "The ship is repairing itself." "No," Kale that's corrected. "The ship is remembering how to be whole." Quantum existence allows for many possibilities, including the possibility of being undamaged. A new plan began to form in Amelia's mind. "Kale that's, if you can get to the Codex, can you use it to get us out of here?" "More than that, Captain. I can use it to ensure the Dark World never existed in the first place." "Is that wise?" Changing the past. "The Dark World exists outside of normal time. They have already changed the past, creating a reality where they have always been. The Codex would allow us to restore the original timeline, the one where they never gained the power to threaten the galaxy." The ship shuddered as another entropy beam struck the hull. Warning lights flashed, and the acrid smell of burning circuits filled the air. "Do it," Amelia said. "But how do we get you to the Star Whisper?" "We don't," Kale that's replied. "I bring the Star Whisper to us." He moved to the view screen and placed his hands against the display. The light patterns beneath his skin began to pulse in complex rhythms, and incredibly, the damaged alien vessel began to phase through Meridian's hull. "Impossible," Webb breathed. "They're occupying the same space." Different quantum states. Kale that's explained. For a brief moment, both ships exist in different versions of reality. The bridge shimmered, and suddenly they were standing in two places at once. The familiar bridge of the Meridian and the crystalline command center of the Star Whisper. The effect was disorienting, like looking at the world through a double-exposed photograph. "The quantum core is this way," Kale that said, leading them toward the center of the alien bridge. "But, Captain, I must warn you, only one with the light of the ancients can safely access the Codex, if the wrong person attempts it. What happens? They cease to exist across all possible realities. They become a void in the universe, a place where existence itself is negated." Amelia felt the weight of responsibility settling on her shoulders once again. "Then I'll do it." "Captain, no," Parts protested. "Let me?" "No, Victoria. This is my responsibility." She turned to Kale that's. "What I need to do. Place your hand on the quantum core and open your mind to the infinite possibilities of existence. The Codex will test you, judge you, determine whether you are worthy of its power." At the center of the Star Whisper's bridge stood a column of living crystal that pulsed with inner light. As Amelia approached, she could feel something resonating within her, a sensation she'd never experienced before. "Captain," Chen's voice came through the intercom, "the Dark World vessels are charging some kind of massive weapon. Whatever you're going to do it fast." Amelia placed her hand on the crystal column and immediately felt her consciousness expand beyond the boundaries of her physical form. She was suddenly aware of every star in the galaxy, every world, every possible future and past that had ever existed or might exist. And there, at the center of it all, was a sacred codex. It appeared as a sphere of pure information, containing within it the sum total of all knowledge possessed by the architects. But as she reached for it, she felt a presence, ancient, benevolent, and incredibly powerful. Who seeks the knowledge of the ancients? I am Amelia Voss, captain of the Earth vessel Meridian. I seek the power to protect my crew and stop the dark world from destroying the galaxy. You carry within you the light of those who came before. You have shown compassion to those unlike yourself, courage in the face of impossible odds, and wisdom in your choices. The Codex is yours, but know this: with great power comes great responsibility. The sphere of information flowed into her mind, and suddenly she knew everything. The location of every star, every world, every possible pathway through space and time. She saw the dark world for what it truly was, a parasite that fed on the death of universes, moving from reality to reality like a cosmic plague. But she also saw how to stop them. I know what to do, she said, her voice echoing across multiple dimensions. Everyone hold on. Using the Codex, she reached out and touched the fundamental structure of reality itself. The dark world vessels, which had been preparing to fire their ultimate weapon, suddenly found themselves existing in a reality where they had never been built. Their crews, who had devoted themselves to entropy and destruction, were given new lives, new purposes, new chances to choose light over darkness. The effect rippled outward, touching every corner of the galaxy. Worlds that had been consumed by the dark world were restored. Civilizations that had been destroyed were given second chances. The very fabric of reality was repaired, made whole again. And in the center of it all, the Meridian and the Star Whisper floated in space, their crews safe and their missions complete. The aftermath of using the sacred Codex was unlike anything Amelia had ever experienced. For several hours, she existed in a state of expanded consciousness, aware of every particle of matter and energy in the galaxy. Gradually, with Dr. Chen's help, she returned to normal human awareness, though she retained access to the Codex's vast knowledge. The incredible thing, Chen explained as she monitored Amelia's recovery, is that your brain has somehow adapted to process quantum information. You're essentially thinking in multiple dimensions simultaneously. Amelia sat up on the medical bed, feeling more clear-headed than she had in years. It's like the fog has lifted. I can see connections between things that I never noticed before. Can you still access the Codex? Yes, but carefully. The knowledge is there whenever I need it, but I don't have to be overwhelmed by it. She paused, considering. Chun, I know the way home. Her friend's eyes widened. Are you sure? More than sure. I can see the pathway as clearly as if it were mapped on a star chart. Earth is 17 quantum jumps away, using the Lumiare dimensional shifting technique. And our jump drive? With the modifications I can now see how to make, it will be more than capable of handling the transition. The intercom crackled. Captain to the bridge. We have a situation developing. Amelia made her way to the bridge, where she found the crew gathered around the main view screen. The Star Whisper floated nearby, its hull now completely repaired, gleaming like a work of art in the starlight. Captain, Torres reported, we're receiving transmissions from across the galaxy. Dozens of civilizations are reporting that the Dark World threat has simply vanished. Their ships, their bases, their entire civilization. It's as if they never existed. That's because they didn't, Amelia explained. The Codex allowed me to restore the original timeline, one where the Dark World never gained the power to threaten the galaxy. But what about the people who served them? Parks asked, what happened to them? They were given new lives, new choices. The Codex doesn't destroy, it transforms. Those who serve the Dark World out of fear or desperation have been placed in circumstances where they can choose light over darkness. Kale had appeared on the bridge, his form now radiating with inner light. Captain Voss, on behalf of the Lumiare and all the free peoples of the galaxy, I thank you. You have saved not just our reality, but all possible realities. It was a team effort, Amelia replied. We all played our part. And now? Parks asked, what do we do now? Amelia looked around at her crew. These people had shared 8 years of uncertainty and hardship with her. They had aged, changed, grown in ways that would have been impossible in the safe confines of human space. But they had also become something more than they had been: explorers, diplomats, protectors of the innocent. Now we face a choice, she said. The Codex shows me the way home to Earth. We can return to our own people, our own worlds, our own time. Or, Chun prompted, or we can stay out here in this region of space and serve as liaisons between humanity and the dozens of civilizations we've encountered. We've learned things, seen things that could benefit both humanity and our new alien friends. The bridge fell silent as the crew considered this. They had dreamed of home for 8 years, but they had also discovered that home could be more than just a place where you were born. I vote we stay, Torres said suddenly. At least for a while. We become something unique out here, and that has value. Agreed, Parks added. We can always return to Earth later. But right now we're needed here. One by one, the crew voiced their agreement. They had become more than just a lost Earth ship. They had become bridges between worlds, symbols of hope in a vast and sometimes dangerous galaxy. Then it's settled, Emilia said. We'll establish a base of operations in this system and begin the work of building lasting relationships between Earth and the galactic community. Captain, Webb interjected, what about Earth? Don't they deserve to know what we discovered? They do, and they will. The Codex will allow us to send detailed reports back to Earth, along with star charts and diplomatic protocols. But we'll do it gradually, carefully, so as not to overwhelm them. Kale that step forward. Captain, if I may, the Lumiari would be honored to serve as your first formal allies in this endeavor. We have much to learn from each other, and we would be honored to accept. Over the following weeks, the Meridian and the Star Whisper worked together to establish a permanent base and system. Using technology from both ships, they built a space station that served as a meeting point for representatives from dozens of civilizations. The first formal diplomatic contact was with the Zephyrians, the peaceful traders who had helped the Meridian in their early days of wandering. They were followed by the Crystalline Collective, the Melodic Ones, and a dozen other species who had heard about the humans who had saved the galaxy from the Dark World. It's remarkable, Chin observed as she watched a group of young Zephyrians playing with human children in the station's recreation area. A year ago, we were lost and alone. Now we're the center of a growing galactic alliance. Emilia nodded, watching as Engineer Webb demonstrated human music to a group of melodic ones, their crystalline forms resonating with the sound in ways that created entirely new harmonies. The Codex showed me something, she said. It's not just about preventing the Dark World from destroying the galaxy. It's about proving that cooperation and understanding are stronger than fear and hatred. And Earth, any word from home, they're adapting. The information we've sent back has revolutionized their understanding of the galaxy. They're preparing their own diplomatic missions, but they're taking it slowly, which is wise. A chime sounded, indicating an incoming message. Torres's voice came over the intercom. Captain, we're receiving a transmission from Earth. It's marked Priority 1. Emilia made her way to the communication center, where she found the transmission waiting. The face on the screen was older than she remembered, but unmistakably that of Admiral Sarah Martinez, her former commanding officer. Emilia, the Admiral said, her voice carrying across the light years, I don't know how to begin to thank you. The star charts you've sent, the diplomatic protocols, the technological specifications, they've changed everything. Earth is no longer alone in the galaxy. We're all in this together, Admiral. The galaxy is vast and full of wonders, but it's also full of challenges that no one species can face alone. Which brings me to the reason for this transmission. The Earth government has approved the establishment of a permanent deep space diplomatic corps, and they want you to head it up. The Meridian will become the flagship of a new fleet dedicated to exploration and diplomacy. Emilia felt a surge of pride and excitement. I'm honored, Admiral, but I have to ask, what about the rest of my crew? They've been through everything with me. They're all welcome, of course. But Emilia, I have to be honest with you. This assignment is permanent. If you accept, you'll be out there for the rest of your career. Maybe the rest of your life. Are you prepared for that? Emilia looked around at the communication center, at the displays showing the bustling activity of the space station, at the faces of her crew, who had become her family. She thought about Earth, about the home she had left 8 years ago, about the life she might have had if the jump drive had never malfunctioned. But she also thought about Kael'thats and the Lumiari, about the Zephyrians and the Crystalline Collective, about the dozens of civilizations that looked to humanity as a symbol of hope and cooperation. She thought about the infinite possibilities that lay ahead, about the challenges that would require all species working together to overcome. "Admiral," she said, "I can't think of anything I'd rather do." 5 years after the defeat of the Dark World, the Meridian-class starship Unity slipped out of quantum space at the edge of the Andromeda Galaxy. Captain Amelia Voss stood on the bridge of the flagship of the Deep Space Diplomatic Corps, watching as the spiral arms of humanity's nearest galactic neighbor filled the view screen. "Long-range sensors are detecting multiple civilizations," reported Commander Torres, who had been promoted to first officer after Parks decided to return to Earth to head up the new Interstellar Academy. "At least 50 distinct technological signatures, and some of them are unusual." Unusual how? Well, for one thing, there appears to be a civilization that exists entirely in quantum superposition. They're simultaneously everywhere and nowhere in the galaxy. Dr. Chun, now the chief medical officer for the entire diplomatic corps, looked up from her xenobiology reports. "And I'm detecting life signs that suggest silicon-based intelligence, plasma-based entities, and at least one species that appears to be composed entirely of organized gravitational fields." Amelia smiled. Even after all these years, after all the wonders they had witnessed, the galaxy still held infinite surprises. "Any signs of hostile intent?" "None that we could detect, Captain. In fact, we're receiving what appears to be a welcome message." "Put it through." The view screen filled with an image that defied description, a being of pure energy that somehow conveyed warmth and curiosity despite its alien nature. "Greetings, travelers from the distant spiral," the being said, its voice like the harmony of cosmic strings. "We are the shepherds of Andromeda, and we have been watching your progress with great interest. Your species' dedication to peace and cooperation has not gone unnoticed. I am Captain Amelia Voss of the Earth vessel Unity. We come in peace, seeking to build bridges between our galaxies. We know of your work, Captain Voss. The echoes of your victory over the Dark World have reached even here. You and your allies have proven that light can triumph over darkness, that cooperation can overcome conflict. We've learned that we're stronger together than apart. Indeed, and now we have a proposal for you. The shepherds have been alone in Andromeda for eons, watching over the young civilizations here, protecting them from threats they cannot yet comprehend. But we grow weary of our vigil. Would you and your allies consider sharing this burden?" Amelia felt the familiar weight of impossible decision, but also the thrill of new possibilities. "You're asking us to help protect an entire galaxy? We are asking you to help us nurture it, to guide the young civilizations toward wisdom and cooperation, as you have done in your own galaxy, to be the bridge between what is and what could be." She looked around at her crew, at the faces of beings from dozens of different worlds who had come together to serve a common cause. She thought about Kael'thats, now the Lumiari ambassador to Earth, and about the countless other friends and allies they had made among the stars. "We'll need to discuss this with our respective governments," she said finally. "But speaking personally, I can't think of a more worthwhile challenge. Time is not a concern for us, Captain. We have waited millions of years for the right moment, the right people. We can wait a little longer." After the transmission ended, Amelia stood alone on the bridge, looking out at the vast spiral of Andromeda. Somewhere out there were civilizations taking their first steps toward the stars, others struggled with the challenges of interstellar existence, and still others who had achieved wonders that humanity could barely imagine. The sacred codex, now a permanent part of her consciousness, showed her glimpses of future, not fixed or predetermined, but fluid and full of possibility. She saw humanity spread across multiple galaxies, serving as mediators and teachers, learning as much as they taught. She saw the Lumiari evolving into beings of pure energy, the Zephyrians developing technologies that could reshape matter itself, and the Crystalline Collective creating art that existed in dimensions humanity had yet to discover. But most importantly, she saw hope. In every possible future, in every potential timeline, there was hope. "Captain," Chin said, joining her at the view screen, "any regrets about the path we've chosen?" Amelia considered the question. She thought about the Earth she had left behind, about the normal life she might have had, about the simple certainties of human space. But then she thought about the wonders they had witnessed, the friendships they had forged, the difference they had made in the galaxy. "No regrets," she said finally. "We set out to explore the unknown, and we discovered something far more important than new worlds or new technologies. We've discovered that the universe is vast and full of wonders, but it's also full of friends we just haven't met yet. And now we take the next step. We accept the Shepherd's offer, and we help guide Andromeda toward the same kind of cooperation we've fostered in our own galaxy. That's a big responsibility. The biggest, but I can't think of anyone I'd rather share it with." As the Unity moved deeper into Andromeda space, Amelia felt the familiar thrill of exploration, the joy of discovery, the satisfaction of purpose. They had come so far from the lost ship that had stumbled into unknown space 8 years ago. They had become something greater than themselves, something that bridged the gap between worlds and species and possibilities. The galaxy was vast and full of wonders, but it was also full of challenges that required all intelligent beings working together to overcome. They had learned that lesson well, and now they would teach it to an entire galaxy of young civilizations. The journey was far from over. In many ways, it was just beginning, but that was exactly the way Captain Amelia Voss wanted it.